Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today I have something very special for all of you. This is the actual finals match from the very first constructed tournament for Wonders of the First. This took place at the first Shattering launch event in Columbia, South Carolina back in March, and we saw Ben Palocko and Matthew Nix slugging it out, going toe-to-toe, taking no prisoners, trying to become the very first champion, very first place in a tournament for this game. It was kind of crazy, and honestly, it gave us some really good insight into just how crazy and competitive things can get at the absolute upper tier of competitive play for this game. Now, I did bring along Jacob Burns, the organized play coordinator for Wonders of the First, and he's going to help me with some of the commentary during this finals match, but the actual gameplay is the game that happened at the event. I recorded it live, and it's pretty wild. So we're going to dive right in. Before we do, I'd just like to note that all of the top 8 deck lists I covered in another video, so if you're interested in not only the deck lists for these two competitors, but also the rest of the top 8, I am going to link that in the description and in the comments. I would recommend checking that out because it does give you some really interesting insights into the way that the meta is starting out when this game's in its infancy, and I'm really excited about where it's going. But with all of that out of the way, we're going to dive right in, and let's see who claims the very first championship. This is the constructed finals match from the first Shattering launch event for Wonders of the First. With me, I have the organized play coordinator, Jacob Burns, otherwise known as Wicked. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
And we're going to be calling the shots today and seeing how crazy this finals match actually was. You can see right now that they're competing over this alternate art version of the first, which was absolutely beautiful.
Yep. That and a Phoenix Quill box and the first ever Shattering Champion playmat.
Very cool. Looks like they drew their hand of 7 cards. Who are these players? Who are we watching today?
So we got Matthew Nix, South Carolina resident, and we got Ben Palocko.
And I believe Ben's on the bottom and Matthew's up top.
That's correct.
Looks like they're deciding to mulligan.
Yeah, it looks like Ben's sending down 1 for sure.
And it looks like we can see some proxies in Ben's hand as well.
Yes, at official Wonders of the First hosted events, we will allow proxies for slab cards and for pre-release slab cards that we sent out prior to the Kickstarter launch. So Ben actually has a huge stack of those off to the left, and we'll be referencing those a few times this match. Oh, it's begun. We got the first play by Matthew, an Idris Citadel in Realm 1. Normally not the best play, but sometimes necessary if you have cards with core in your hand.
And then we got an Oakthorn's Elysium in Realm 1 from Ben, which is a pretty good turn 1 play.
Matthew drew for his second action.
Kind of surprising seeing Idris Citadel as the first card you play in Realm 1.
Yeah, I probably would have drawn for my first action if I felt my hand was locked. But getting an early land drop sometimes is necessary for the rest of the game.
Seems like Ben agrees. He just dropped an Ethereal Grove, and he copied his Oakthorn's Elysium rather than copying the Idris Citadel.
Yeah, that's probably definitely the best play. And since we see him running, that's his second Petraia land, so the third one would be able to activate the ability to untap them both.
That could
Might
be
see an early harvest.
Yeah, that could be an insane amount of value depending on how the game pans out.
Looks like Matt drew for his last action. Oh,
And
yep. So we have a misplay here. He went to advance to the second turn and then harvested. So we're still in turn 1 or round 1 now.
yeah, he harvested both of his lands to get actions back. So I believe Matthew thought that they were both out of actions, but now round 1 is
Yes.
still happening.
Still happening, yeah.
Now we see a proxy here for Cedar Shade Ruins. So he's going to be pulling that out.
Yep. Yep, that's a slab off to the side. And so that will untap the other two.
And now we see why he was so quick to play lands quickly and to use them, harvest them so quickly for actions. We're not even done with round 1, and he's already untapping both lands.
He used his last action to draw a card. Yep, and that was a double pass.
So we're going to go right into round 2 here.
So round 2, Matthew still goes first since no one has seized the stone.
It's pretty crazy that he already has 3 lands in play, Ben.
Yeah. It is definitely opportune, especially round 1, because now, the rest of his board is active, for all his Petraia lands, and core cards. Another Indra's, but this time in an even realm where it belongs.
Yeah, this is a good play here. Indra's always wants to be in an even round, or in an even realm, rather. Although I think it maybe made sense for him to play the Indra Citadel into round 1 because he didn't have another play and he would have had to discard a card.
Yeah, that's true.
So that could be why he played the Indra Citadel. It might have been better than discarding.
Seafly Nest.
Yep, we've got a Seafly Nest here now. And a Celestium Heights from Ben.
Yeah, same effect as the Oak Thorns, but just Boundless now.
So many lands being dropped on both sides.
So Ben, it seems, is playing a Petraia Boundless dual color, dropping his own Indras. The Dark Iron Fish from Matthew. That should round out his actions for this round.
Yeah, so we're finally seeing someone get some board presence out, try and get some power, start taking stones. And it looks like Matt's going to be the one to try and draw first blood.
Yeah.
But it's pretty crazy how many lands Ben has, just loading up on potential actions for later in the game.
And dropping a mythic land at that, Clear Sky Eerie.
Being able to double your on arrival triggers if you have at least
huge.
4 lands.
And he's definitely got it. So Ben harvesting his Celestium Heights.
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to get ready for even more untapping lands.
Uses the action to draw. Yeah, he's building up for some kind of combo. Can't wait to see it.
And it looks like they both passed, so we're going to go to round 3.
Interesting choice, too, because Matthew could have started the round with an extra energy. So let's see what he's cooking. He still goes first for this round, since no one sees the stone.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he didn't harvest the land so that he could make an attack with that Dark Iron Fish. Get an early lead on energy.
Yeah. Could be saving he might have a plan for it, but we'll definitely see how this plays out.
Looks like he decided to draw for the turn.
Yeah. Spent his first action.
Right. And they're both using their first action to draw.
Interesting. Accessing the Wave Whisper Bay trigger allows you to look at the top card of your deck and decide if you want to leave it there or bury it.
Decided to keep it, so it must be good for him. Both players seem to be considering all of their options pretty deeply at this point.
Yeah, Ben is definitely riffling through his hand.
Matt has the early board advantage. He really needs to just
decides about it, but
he should really just start taking advantage of it. Ben just seems like he's hoarding actions.
Yeah, he must have an interesting deck. So looking through it, he's got a lot of spells in that one mouse, so he might not have a lot of wonders in hand. Just an attack for Matthew.
Seems like first blood has been drawn. Matthew's got a stone.
Ben plays an Eye of Petraia.
And we finally have some board presence from Ben. Eye of Petraia is pretty crazy with his board state, but the fact that it also gets +1 for each land that his opponent controls makes it kind of nuts right now.
Oh yeah, this card's juiced.
And again, this is another one of those cards that he had proxied because he has
so this is a
very limited edition slab off to the side.
Yep.
Doing some careful math here. It's so big.
Yeah, it's a 10. I do believe that was his last action, though.
Unless he decides to harvest some lands and get some back. But he might be content.
Yeah, it looks like it's up to Matthew to see if he wants to harvest or not. Yep,
He decides
he
not.
passed. Mm-hmm.
Looks like we're going to round 4. Looks like Ben discarded a Seer's Gaze.
A formless foil at that.
Pretty crazy. One of the best card draw spells in the game. To see that discarded, he must have exactly what he wants.
Yeah. Yeah, he's already cooking. He's not searching, that's for sure. So the first play is still on Matthew.
Ooh, Verdant.
From his foil Verdant. Yeah, beautiful card. Very strong ability.
It's one of those cards that, under the right circumstances, can just kind of run roughshod over the board state because of the flying and the free value it gets you on attack.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting choice to place it in realm 4.
It looks to
just
me
like that.
It looks to me like he might be trying to just go down the line, start at realm 4, and just try to fly in and take the realms over sequentially.
Yeah, it's just an interesting take, starting 4 and going back to 1. So we'll see how this goes for him. Yeah, flying is definitely a powerful ability on any wonder.
Alright, looks like he attacks in realm 3 and takes the stone there.
And he is choosing not to fly the Cliff Wing.
Interesting.
And there it is, Azure Vault. Super powerful.
He's just going to protect all of his lands, and since he has so many, and his Eye of Petraia is pretty dependent on them, kind of makes sense. It also seems like now it does make more sense that he used the Verdant Cliffwing in Realm 4 first. I think he was trying to line it up so that it could potentially protect Realm 2, because that Eye of Petraia could swing in Realm 2 and take that stone from the Dark Ironfish.
Oh, yep. That's absolutely true.
Now it looks like we're going into Realm 5, or Round 5 rather. Back up to 3 actions.
Play should still be on Matthew.
Matthew has a huge energy lead, controlling 3 stones already.
Yeah, he can definitely afford to play something big.
It's pretty obvious to me that Ben has some kind of a long-term game plan in mind that he's building towards.
Yeah, this is definitely a late game combo deck.
Alright, they're both drawing a card for the round. Let's see what Matt wants to do here.
Just checking the power via Petraia.
I think he's realizing that even with the Verdant Cliffwing, he's not going to have the power he needs in Realm 2.
Yeah, not on their own. Maybe he's got something in hand.
He's going to need at least 2 more power, and that's even if he sends the Verdant Cliffwing into Realm 2.
Yeah, which will definitely take an action as well to move it.
That's something that I've noticed a lot about high-level play. It's not always about stopping your opponent from doing something specific, but more about making them waste more actions than they'd like in order to accomplish it.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely a huge part of the meta game. Because, without extra effects or cards, everyone only has 21 actions, so the action economy is huge.
We see Matthew drop Triton Behemoth.
Oh, this card's great. He's got high power, and you draw a card on arrival.
It almost feels like they're playing 2 different games.
Yep.
Matthew's just throwing down a ton of board presence and taking all the stones, and Ben doesn't seem to care at all.
Right. So far, only the Eye of Petraia down. That's his only wonder.
He clearly has something in mind. He's not trying to fight over the stones early like Matthew is. But Matthew has a great opportunity to take advantage of that, and he's going for it. Just taking every stone as efficiently as he can.
Yep. Yeah, the energy gained from each stone at the beginning of a round could put him at a sizable advantage if he drops something really big.
Alright, looks like Ben is spending an action. He's drawing another card. Seems like Ben does not care about the board state at all, and I kind of love it.
He's definitely playing his own game right now.
We've got an Ethereal Enigmist from Matthew, whopping 7 power. I don't know if you need that much power right now in Realm 5, but it's there.
Yep, it's definitely there.
We got another Oakthorn's Elysium.
So this one will not proc the others, now that the third is already down. Ben's actually asking for clarification on that right now.
It is really important to note that these lands that untap when you play a third land of a certain type, they only trigger on exactly the third land. It's not every third land, so not again on 6 or 9 or anything like that. So the Eye of Petraia is even stronger now.
Yep, for every land, it just keeps getting bigger.
Moonfire Crystal Mouse is a hell of a card.
Yeah, it almost feels like it's the equivalent of a Mox or something like that from old school Magic. You sack it and get 2 cards and 2 energy. So depending on if you're running a Thalwind land or not, it's either a net gain of 1 energy or refunds its cost.
So good. It's probably the best common in the game.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And both players are using it in their decks, so Seems like they agree.
Yeah. Right. Might be a reason it's in the top 2 decks of this event.
You would normally have to spend an action to draw a card, but you could spend 1 action for a Moonfire Crystal Mouse and eventually draw 2 cards. Not to mention the energy you get back, and potentially using it as a combat advantage, using its power in the meantime. So, just a ton of value.
Yeah, absolutely huge. And like we were saying, without the help of additional cards, you only have 21 actions. So any way to get more than that is just powerful and wonders.
So it looks like Matt's out of actions, and Ben is just keeps harvesting and drawing. And now he's finally playing a Seer's Gaze.
So maybe he was missing something that he's now looking for.
Looks like he's gonna draw 6 cards?
Should be 9 cards.
9 cards?
Yep.
Well, it's only untapped lands, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it'll be 6. That's right.
Could you imagine if this thing drew you cards for tapped lands as well?
You gotta tone it down a little bit. Yeah.
This is definitely another card that's in contention for best common.
Yeah. And both of them have card draw on them. So definitely the advantage that gives you seems to be well represented.
It's very clear by this point in the game that both decks have very different goals.
Yeah,
Matthew's
is
trying to
definitely
play
closer.
as efficiently as possible, take the stones as early as possible, and Ben seems to just be building up towards a huge end game. We're going into round 6, so now we'll get an opportunity to see if that's correct.
Yeah, Ben should definitely start making some plays at this point. Another discard.
He seems to be discarding a lot of cards. He even discarded a Corruption Warp. It looks like he put the Corruption Warp on the bottom of his discard pile. I wonder why he did that.
Yeah.
Looking at the deck list beforehand, I did notice that Ben's deck has some ways to interact with the Abyss. So it's possible he could be trying to take mental notes about ways in which he wants to interact with cards in there later on.
This could be the case.
We see that proxy Cosmic Cataclysm sitting on top. That's very foreboding.
Yeah, that card is a beast. He summoned 4 angels with flying when it's played in up to 3 target realms.
Looks like we got a strength augmentation from Matthew here. Gets to put 4 +1 counters on any target wonder. He's gonna add them all to the Cliffwing. It really seems like he's trying to keep that Cliffwing on the sidelines there, ready to just swing into Realm 2 if it's needed because of how big that Eye of Petraia is.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. It is his only flyer though. And a good thing about flyers is, you know, you can, since they move between realms, you know, you can get them to further realms that open up as they open. Without having to spend the resources to drop another wonder. I probably would have flown it all the way to Realm 7 to just maximize my energy at this point and just abandon Realm 2 because every land is going to just make the Eye of Petraia get bigger and bigger.
sometimes it's really easy to become tunnel visioned on protecting
Oh,
a very
yeah.
specific realm, and then you lose sight of how much advantage you could gain just focusing on some of the newer realms that are unlocking.
Right. Because yeah, you only need 4 to win.
Looks like we have
So
another
it's not-
ethereal grove from Ben.
Yeah. I believe he's copying an Indra Citadel.
Just so many lands, just an insane amount of actions he can take in the late game here.
Yeah, and so he has his own Indras, and then now with that, so each one of those provides an additional action when you tap them.
They definitely seem to both be in on very specific strategies.
So Warren Nico. This guy's great. Puts a counter on 3 of your lands and turns them into legendary wonders that have power equal to your total lands. Very similar to the Eye of Petraia. But unlike the Eye of Petraia, they're still lands, so you can still activate their harvest abilities, and they still
Right.
provide the orbital link.
So it's sort of like it creates 3 Eye of Petraias.
Yep,
Kind of
very
crazy.
powerful.
It is legendary though. You can only have 1 copy in your deck, so you have to get lucky and draw into it.
This could be what Ben was searching for with that Seer's Gaze.
Makes a lot of sense. We see a lot of card draw like Seer's Gaze and the Crystal Mouse, and that's probably why it's there, to dig through your deck and find those legendaries that you only have 1 copy of.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Matthew's contemplating his plays. I'm really surprised nobody's moved in on Realm 1 yet.
Yeah, he's had a wonder there. Matthew's had a wonder there for a few rounds now.
We see Ben finally take the plunge,
Yep.
take the stone.
And that is the first time he's attacked this game.
Halfway through round 6.
Yep, harvesting Celestium Heights. So Matthew passes.
He's using an interesting tactic that I like to employ, which is harvest 1 land at a time, even though you have the opportunity to harvest as many as you want.
I mean, harvesting that way gives you a little bit of an advantage because it gives your opponent an opportunity to make a play. So you go into your next action with more information. It's a
Also,
solid
if you're
play.
trying to spend your 1 action to draw into potentially a Seer's Gaze, wanting to keep as many lands untapped as possible, kind of makes sense for when you cast the Seer's Gaze.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Harvest another land.
Now he's going to
Attacks in
attack in
Realm
Realm
2.
2. Looks like Ben's finally going for the stones, and it is the beginning of round 7.
Yep. Yep, first 2 attacks on his end, where the bottom, he had to harvest just to do them on round 6.
Matthew still has the lead here.
Yep. It's 3-2.
Ben's discarding more cards.
Formless Foil, Galactic Sovereign Throne. Looks great even from this video. Divine Conduit. Copies the spell you played this round.
Just so many powerful spells inside that abyss right now.
Yeah.
He's been drawing a ton with Seer's Gaze and just discarding at the end of rounds.
Yeah, he's discarding as much as a standard Reanimator deck.
Doing some math, trying to figure out the optimal way to line up his final round here.
He's trying to get the correct power for the Eye of Petraia.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, he might need another dice soon.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Eye of Petraia is not a legendary, right?
I think it is.
Maybe it is. He is spending an action. I think I see what he's doing. The reason he attacked in round 6 was so that he could play first in round 7. He wants to get out in front of his opponent. Drops a Moonfire Crystal Mouse.
Eye of Petraia is in fact legendary.
Interesting. Seems like he's being very careful with his energy expenditure.
Yep.
Plays another Moonfire Crystal Mouse.
And he does have the Clear Sky Eerie, so they were at a discount.
Crazy. So he has the potential, without even spending an action, to get 4 energy and draw 4 cards.
Yep.
Looks like we got a Chained Crow from Matthew.
I guess he's planning to move the Verdant Cliffwing and the Crow down together to start removing any of Ben's Wonders, but he only has the Eye of Petraia and the 3 lands with the growth counters.
That makes sense. He wants to move them
there you
all
go.
as a unit. Take out all of the defenders.
Mm-hmm. He seems to be down to 0 actions, but he's got 1, 2, 3, 4.
He just played
5
Open the
lands.
Cosmos.
Nope.
I think this is what Ben was building to.
Yep, it's a spell reanimator deck.
So what
I
is
didn't
he
want to
doing?
spoil it early on, but you know, you were hinting at it.
So choose up to 3 target spells you own from the Abyss, play them for free, then banish them and banish this.
Yep, so that Corruption Warp, Open the Cosmic Cataclysm. It's gonna be nasty. So, yep, Corruption Warp first. This is gonna destroy all non-legendary wonders.
Ooh, brings out the Corruption Warp, which is another proxy, another one of the pre-release slabs he has. And it just nukes every wonder that isn't legendary. So now it starts to make more sense. He's got the Eye of Petraia, the Wornoko. Even the lands that he turned into wonders with Wornoko are legendary.
Yep, the growth counter makes them legendary wonders in addition to being lands. Massive board wipe from Ben.
Wow. And it didn't even cost him any extra energy. It was his first free spell off Open the Cosmos.
Yep.
And now his opponent has nothing.
Nothing.
Just lands in a blunderbuss.
Yeah. So here comes Cosmic Cataclysm.
Looks like he's creating a 4-power Angel token wonder with flying in up to 3 different realms, and also gaining 2 free attacks.
Yep, that's correct.
That is so much value. And it's for free. as his second spell.
From Open the Cosmos, yeah. Very powerful combo.
And the rest is history.
I use my last free attack. Let's attack here.
Harvest.
Okay. I'm gonna harvest Citadel. 2 actions.
Play this for 2 energy. Draw a card for each untap.
Draw 3. I'll attack in realm 7.
This is on the wording, right? Huh. Oh.
I'll attack in realm 6.
I will harvest this one, gain 2 actions.
I'll harvest the Grove.
Take this stone.
I'll attack in realm 4. I don't know why I moved the vault, that doesn't do anything.
Play this and get to look at the top.
Pass.
Harvest, harvest, harvest. I get 3. Doesn't do anything. Pass.
Pass. Did you pass too?
No, I was
All right.
asking if he's passed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I pass. Gotcha.
GG.
Good game, man. Congrats.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.